I
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
greatly appreciate you tuning in to Sports Talk and the Success Table today with me, Zach Barnett. And Michael, let's get it all rolling with how did you get involved with football as a kid?
Ah, man, just watching football growing up. I grew up watching a little bit of Jerry Rice, T.O. Hines Ward. Just grew up watching it. And my mom wouldn't let me play until I was in ninth grade. So I had to wait. I played other sports, soccer, basketball, a little bit of baseball. But once I got into high school, I went out and I tried out without my mom knowing because she told me that I could play in ninth grade. So I just showed it to the tryout, made the team, and then the rest is history.
Heck yeah, man. Besides all those receivers that you mentioned, who else were some of your sports role models, man?
Well, shoot, you see this guy right behind me, Kobe.
Oh,
I grew
heck
up.
yeah.
I'm from LA, from West LA. Grew up. My second son, I named him Kobe. So Kobe was everything to me growing up, man. I used to watch Kobe, obviously, Jordan, Allen Iverson, Michael Vick. I was a quarterback when I first started playing, so I wanted to play like Michael Vick. Who else, man? I used to like Westbrook from Philly, the Eagles back in the day. Bunch of dudes, man. Deion Sanders, the typical.
Heck yeah, man. So the college transition for you, what helped you produce right away for Washington State?
One, I was very confident coming in. I was ranked pretty high as a receiver, so I came in thinking that I could play right now. Two, I had guys in front of me that had done it. When I got to Washington State, I had guys like Chris Jordan, who was a veteran, who was there. Jason Hill was there. Marty Martin. So I had a lot of guys who kind of mentored me along the way, and then the rest are just making plays, man. If you don't have the ability to go out there and just perform, then you're not going to get many opportunities. So I just believed in myself, man. I had guys around me who helped me along the way. End of the day, it's about catching the rock. That's what I could
Definitely,
do where I can
man.
catch that thing.
Heck yeah, man. So with the NFL, how many teams tried to reach out to you after the draft when you went undrafted and signed with the Seattle Seahawks, the number 12 in the stands, man?
Yes, sir. So when the draft concluded, it was Atlanta, New England, the Browns, Seattle, and the Chargers, San Diego Chargers at the time. So I'm trying to figure out where I'm going to go. I'm talking to my agent. I'm like, man, I want to go to New England. They got Wes Welker over there. He's doing his thing. They use the slot well. And he suggested that I just stay in state. He goes, look, these guys have been watching you develop over the years at Washington State. They probably know you the best out of anybody. I suggest you to stay in state and go to Seattle. So that's what I did, man. Wanted to go to, it was either New England, Atlanta, or Seattle. Narrowed down to those three. Ended up staying in Washington, still here today.
Definitely, man. You think your career would have turned out a little bit different if you would have went to New England?
Man, who knows, right? You can look at it. Hindsight's always 2020. You could say, look, I would have had a chance to win a Super Bowl, or maybe they would have used me differently. But man, it all worked out, man. My wife is from here. I got kids now, a business, obviously a career here. So it might have turned out differently, but I'm okay with where I'm at right now.
Definitely, definitely. So, life after football for you, Michael, how have you applied the trials and tribulations of the game of football to your personal life?
Yeah, well, one thing football teaches you young is how to be on time and be where you're supposed to be. If you can't even get that done, coaches are not going to take chances on you. In college, I learned that early, man. You got 6 a.m. workouts, 9 a.m. class, all the way till 2, then meetings and practice, then study hall. So it teaches you time management and how to be where you're supposed to be. And I think that's something that I'm pretty good at. It allows me to take advantage of a lot of opportunities, just showing up and being where you're supposed to be. And then 2 is just it's how to grind, man. There are times in football where it's summertime, you're doing your summer conditioning, and it sucks, man. It's hard. And some people tap out. I've seen dudes quit football. There's a moment in time where you're like, damn, how much do I love this? Am I willing to sacrifice my body for this? Is it really worth it? So you take that into life, into business, is that things are going to get tough, man. And you have to question if you really want to do this. How important is this business deal to you? How important is your family to you? And you tap back into those hard summers and winters where you're conditioning. You're doing no football. You're not touching a football. You're just running around, getting those lungs right, getting your cardio right. And this teaches you to push through some stuff, man, because life is tough, man. It ain't. Unless you're born a multi-millionaire with a silver spoon, you're gonna go through some stuff. So it's tapping into that, man. Just learn how to work hard, be where you're supposed to be, and how to communicate with people. In my locker room, I met guys. I had guys on my team from Florida, Texas, Cali, Washington, Oregon, some from the Midwest. So you get to learn how to communicate with a whole bunch of different people, and that's business too, man. You're gonna communicate with people. You might have nothing in common, but you gotta find some way to relate and communicate effectively.
Definitely. And with sports, that's easy to connect with people on. That music's another thing.
Yeah, sports and music, man. If there's a few things that people do, everyone does. Everyone listens to music and everyone likes to laugh. There's a way to connect right there. Music and laughter, easy.
Definitely. And another thing is God, too. We all have that in common.
Yeah, everyone believes in something.
Yeah, for sure. So my next two questions for you, Michael, are brought to you by B&D Sports Media. As a former wide receiver, what are your thoughts on DK Metcalf, the Seattle Seahawks best receiver?
DK, I love DK. I think coming into the league, I had the same questions everyone else had. Can he run a route other than a post or a go? And then as he's progressed, you see his route running become better. You see his hands even become better. With big guys, you never really see a guy his size and think, man, and he just has great hands. Usually that's for the average size, maybe like the 5'11" to 6'1" type receiver where you see guys with elite hands. But I've seen DK get better with his hands every single year. I've seen him get better with his routes. Now with DK, it's all about how do you handle all this success now? Because I did a podcast last week and we talked about receivers becoming divas. And it's real easy for us receivers to become divas, to want the football, to be demonstrative on the sidelines, to challenge coaches and stuff. That's why I'm waiting to see how DK handles this. But I think he's doing everything right, man. He's progressing every single year. Had a tough year this year. I guess you can say tough. Didn't get 1,000 yards, but dang near 900 yards and about 10 touchdowns. His quarterback wasn't there, so he had probably his most adversity in his third or fourth year than he had in his first year. But I think he's moving in the right direction. He's a top 10 receiver in the league, in my opinion. And for him, it's all about being healthy, being available, and just continue to expand your role as a receiver. You got to be able to do everything. Cooper Kupp, perfect example, does everything. Deep ball, short ball, blocking, jet sweep. He threw the ball in the Super Bowl, didn't complete the pass, but he did throw it. So as a receiver, you got to be able to do a little bit of everything, and I see DK slowly getting there.
Definitely. They're in Seattle. They have a good tandem, him and Lockett.
Yeah. One of the best 1-2 combos in the league. Last year, they were the best. This year, obviously, injuries kind of slowed them down a bit. But, yeah, man, keep those two together. They got a chance.
For sure. So the next one is if Russell Wilson is traded or gets traded, how will the Seattle Seahawks be able to replace him there in Seattle?
Man, it's hard to replace Russell Wilson. If he were to go, Seattle, you guys be ready for some dark years. Unless you pick up Aaron Rodgers in free agency or an established veteran, it's going to be tough. I think that's what the people kind of forget up here sometimes. When I played for the Hawks, we were bad. And we were not a very good football team. But ever since Russell Wilson has come along with missed the playoffs once or twice, and twice this is the second time he missed the playoffs in 10 years, has all these records, you can't replace him. You gotta start building all over again. The only way you can kind of replace him is if you get an established guy, which those guys are hard to come by. I think people are starting to realize that. People say, defense wins championships, which they do. But you need a quarterback who's calm, who's a leader, who could make the big throws in big situations. And we're seeing around the league, those are hard to come by. Most of those quarterbacks are in the AFC right now. The AFC is thick with great quarterbacks. So I don't think you replace him. I think you start all over. If you get rid of Russell Wilson, you're rebuilding.
Definitely. I think one guy in the NFC that has been noted in the media here real lately, Kyler Murray, could replace him.
Kyler Murray. I mean, that'd be a move. Arizona would be crazy to let him go, though. If anything, if there's any trouble going on in Arizona, which there is, right? Kyler Murray unfollowed the Cardinals, and now they're leaking all this stuff about his attitude. Things aren't right over there. But if there is a guy to come in, I can see Kyler Murray doing it. I just don't think that would happen. You keep Kyler Murray for Arizona, you get rid of the head coach. Kingsbury. I mean, he wasn't even really qualified for the job anyway. He was mediocre at Texas Tech. I think he was just a young hire with an offense that people expected just to blow up. But like I said, quarterbacks are so hard to come by. In the Arizona situation, they'd be crazy to let him go. You get rid of everybody else. You keep Kyler Murray.
For sure. They have the talent there, too. They have D-Hop. Their receiving core is stout. They have at least 4 number ones on their team, at least.
Christian Kirk, AJ Green, and you got in backfield Chase Edmonds, James Conner. I mean, exactly. You look at all the weapons over there; they should be winning ball games. So if you're not able to win with talent, right? What's the first thing you do? You got to start looking at the coaching staff and what they're doing with that talent. Because the job as a coach, you got to go X's and O's. You got to draw plays to make sure these guys are good to go. But you also got to find a way to get them motivated and get them playing together. When you get to the league, all these guys can play. Even the guys that people think are garbage on the football field, they're way better than you. They're way better than me. You know, they're still out there getting it. So as a coach, you got the talent. Now it's all about getting these guys to perform at a high level.
Definitely. I think with their defensive end and the guy that came from New England in the back right here, Chris Jones or Chandler Jones, excuse me. They let him go by the wayside. Man, that man's been putting up sacks for forever for them after he got traded there.
Chris Jones is huge, man. He started off the season with 4 sacks against the Titans or something like that. When you bring in Watt on the line as well, he messed up his peg, ends up coming back for the playoffs. He's a little older, but there's talent on the roster, and that's where you start. You need talent. You're not gonna sneak into the playoffs with an average team. Well, you can say that about the Bengals. I think the Bengals were extremely talented, but they found a way to get it done. But most of the time, you need talent on that roster. So it's an arms race, man. And the offseason, we're going to see that right now. This is where it gets crazy, right? This is where guys start trying to reload and start trying to build their futures. Heck
yeah. Well, Michael, I'll leave you on this. Where can my audience find you on social media?
Social media, Instagram, Michael Bumpus 5. On Twitter, Michael Bumpus 5. And, man, just click, follow, and I get to know me.
It's been a blessing to have you on our show, Michael, and we'd welcome you back for another one on Sports Talk and the Success Table.